In one accidental moment, everything she believed about love and friendship collapsed. Before starting the story, please subscribe and like the video and listen through end for chill. I always thought life had a way of revealing itself in slow, gentle pieces, like a sunrise breaking over the horizon. I never imagined that my life, my marriage, and every belief I held about loyalty would come crashing down in a single, accidental moment. But that's exactly what happened the night my husband forgot to hang up the phone. My name is Layla. I'm 32, married for 7 years to Daniel, a man I believed was my forever. And my best friend? Her name is Ava. We've been inseparable since 8th grade, friends who knew every secret, every heartbreak, every embarrassing outfit from middle school to adulthood. And she was pregnant. A big part of me had been thrilled for her, at least in the beginning, but lately something felt wrong. A heaviness in her voice, a distance, a strange tension that brewed whenever all three of us were in the same room. But I ignored it. After all, pregnancy changes people, right? At least, that's what I kept telling myself. It was a Thursday evening. I had just gotten home from work, exhausted and craving nothing but silence and a hot shower. Daniel had mentioned earlier that he might get home late, quarter-end reports at his accounting firm, the usual rush. I heated leftover lasagna, kicked off my shoes, and curled into the sofa. The apartment felt strangely quiet, unusually still, like the air was holding its breath. Then my phone rang. Daniel. I answered. "Hey, babe, are you driving?" I asked. But no one replied. Instead, I heard muffled sounds, like the rush of wind. He must have pocket-dialed me. I was about to hang up when I heard another voice, faint but unmistakable. Ava. My stomach tightened. I pressed the phone closer, suddenly alert. Her voice was soft, shaky. "Daniel, I can't keep doing this." My heart froze. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. I didn't move. Every muscle in my body locked into place. Daniel sighed, the sound weary, intimate. "Ava, please, don't start again. You know we're in too deep now." My hand trembled violently. No, no, no! This had to be a misunderstanding, some twisted coincidence. But then Ava spoke again, a small sob breaking through her words. "I told you, I can't lie to her anymore. She's my best friend, Daniel, and she thinks I'm carrying Connor's baby. She still asks about him every week." A cold wave crashed over me. Connor. Her husband. Her loving, goofy, hard-working husband who adored her and had been trying for a baby for years. My vision blurred. My ears rang. I wanted to throw the phone across the room, but I was glued to every word, my heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. Daniel's voice turned urgent, firm, almost panicked. "Ava, stop. We talked about this. You can't tell her anything. She doesn't need to know." My mouth went dry. "She is my wife, and she can't handle this, not now." Handle what? What couldn't I handle? Ava whispered. "But Daniel, the baby, this is your child, not Connor's." I shattered. Inside, something broke so loudly I was sure they could hear it through the phone. I pressed my hand to my mouth to keep from screaming. Tears rolled hot and fast down my face. Daniel was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke softly. I know it's mine." The words stabbed me, vicious and direct. Ava sniffled again. "What are we going to do?" Daniel took a shaky breath. I just need more time, Ava. I need to figure out how to tell her without making a disaster out of everything." Ava sounded exhausted. "You've been saying that for months." "Just as you've been promising you'll leave Connor," Daniel shot back, frustrated. My whole world spun. I couldn't make sense of anything, of the betrayal that had been happening right under my nose, between the two people I trusted most. They weren't just having an affair, they had created a life together. A child. A child she had let me celebrate. A child I had knit baby hats for. A child I had helped her announce to the world through tears of joy. Suddenly, I heard a ding, like the sound of a car door. Daniel cursed under his breath. Shit, my phone. The line clicked. Silence. He realized the call was still connected. I lowered the phone, my hands shaking uncontrollably. My heart felt too heavy to hold. My chest rose and fell too fast. I felt like I was drowning. It was instinct, raw, stunned, animal instinct, that made me bolt to the bathroom. I locked the door, collapsed on the tiles, and curled into myself. For minutes, maybe hours, I didn't move. I clutched my legs to my chest and sobbed until there was nothing left inside me but empty echoes. I replayed every interaction in my head, every strange moment, every weird look, every time Ava avoided eye contact, every time Daniel lied about working late, every unexplained expense, every vague text message, and I realized the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. When I finally heard Daniel come home, it was around 9 p.m. I wiped my face, tried to breathe normally, and stepped out of the bathroom. He looked exhausted, guilty maybe, or maybe I was imagining it. He kissed my forehead like nothing had happened, like he wasn't secretly the father of my best friend's baby. "Hey, love," he said casually. "Sorry it was a long night." I stared at him. He looked right past the cracks in me, the tremble in my hands, the emptiness in my eyes. He didn't know I knew. I nodded slowly. "It's okay. You must be tired." He smiled, relieved. "You have no idea." Oh, but I did. He walked to the kitchen and poured water, humming as if the world was perfectly normal, as if he hadn't destroyed mine. I watched him carefully. The way he loosened his tie, the way he washed his hands, the way he checked his phone. I searched for remorse, for fear, for guilt. I saw nothing. He had mastered the arts of lying. Over the next few days, I didn't say a word, not because I was weak, but because I needed to think. I needed a plan. Daniel acted normal. Ava acted normal. But now I saw through both of them. Every glance they shared during group dinners, every too long hug goodbye, every soft laugh. They thought they were clever. They thought they were safe. They had no idea that everything they said, everything they did, every lie they breathed, I was collecting it, storing it, feeding it to the fire building inside me. The anger came slowly, not sudden or explosive, but steady, controlled, sharp, a blade instead of a bomb. 2 weeks later, Ava invited me to her baby shower planning meeting. It was supposed to be a small gathering, me, her sister, her cousins, and her mom. I agreed, quietly, calmly. I showed up with a smile, carrying cupcakes, hugging everyone warmly. And then I saw her, her stomach round and full, her eyes glowing, but not with joy, with fear. She knew something was coming. She sensed a shift in me. She watched me too closely, as if I expected to explode. But I didn't. Not yet. After the party, she pulled me aside, her fingers trembling as she held my wrist. "Layla, are you okay? You seem different." I met her eyes. "I'm fine," I said softly. She didn't believe me. I saw it in her face, a flicker of panic. She opened her mouth, maybe to confess, maybe to lie again. But I walked away. "Not yet, Ava. Not here. Not on your terms." That night, I sat on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket. I watched the city lights blink in the distance while my life collapsed silently around me. I realized something. I didn't just want answers. I didn't just want revenge. I wanted freedom. Freedom from lies, from betrayal, from a marriage built on sinking sand, from a friendship poisoned by secret desire. And I wanted the truth, every piece of it. So I decided I would confront them at the same time, in the same room, and I would end this on my terms. 3 days later, I called both of them. I told Daniel we were having dinner at home and that Ava would be joining us. I said it casually, as if I didn't know he was the father of her best friend's baby. He stiffened for a moment, barely noticeable, but I saw it. Ava arrived first, nervous and fidgety. Daniel walked in a few minutes later. I had cooked dinner, lit candles, set the table beautifully. A perfect setting for a perfect disaster. We sat down. No one spoke. I let the silence stretch so long it became suffocating. Then, calmly, I placed my phone on the table, and I played the call that started it all. Their faces drained of color instantly. Ava's fork clattered to the floor. Daniel's jaw hung open. Both froze, caught, exposed, helpless. When the recording ended, neither spoke. So I did. My voice was calm, steady, cold. How long? Daniel swallowed hard. Layla, How long? Ava broke first. 8 months. 8 months. My vision blurred with fury. I stood up, breathing shakily. You lied to me, both of you, about everything, about the baby, about the affair, about every moment you claimed you loved me. Ava sobbed uncontrollably, holding her stomach. Daniel stood, reaching for me. Please, we didn't mean for it to... I stepped back. Don't touch me. He froze. I continued, you destroyed our marriage. She destroyed our friendship. And now you have each other and a baby on the way. Ava whispered, Layla, please, I didn't want this. I never meant... I cut her off. You didn't mean to betray me, to sleep with my husband, to let me celebrate a pregnancy that wasn't even Connor's? She broke down completely. And Daniel? He stayed silent. Coward. I left the house that night with my head held high. No tears, no begging, no apologies. Just finality. I filed for divorce the same week. I sent Connor an anonymous message about the baby. He deserved to know the truth. And he left Ava, just as I knew he would. Daniel and Ava tried to make it work together. They didn't last. 2 months after the baby was born, Daniel left her. He couldn't handle the responsibility. He couldn't handle her emotional breakdown. He couldn't handle the mess they created. And Ava? She tried to reach out to me, called, texted, begged. I blocked her everywhere, because forgiveness may heal some wounds, but betrayal like theirs, it leaves scars too deep. Healing wasn't easy. I cried, I screamed, I questioned everything, but I rebuilt myself, piece by fierce piece. I traveled, took time off work, started therapy, rediscovered my passions, found peace, and eventually, I found love again. A real, honest love with a man who cherishes me, not a man who breaks me. And one night, as I watched the sunset from my new apartment, I realized the call that shattered my life also saved it. Because sometimes the truth you fear the most is the truth you need the most. And sometimes betrayal isn't the end. It's the beginning of who you were always meant to become. The weeks after the confrontation felt like walking through thick fog, heavy, gray, almost suffocating at times. Yet, somehow, that same fog felt like protection, shielding me from more pain while I gathered whatever pieces of myself were left. I moved out of the apartment within a week. Daniel begged. He cried. He threatened to hurt himself. He swore he would fix everything. He said Ava had seduced him, that it was a mistake, that the baby wasn't actually his, that he would get a DNA test. I didn't listen, because a person capable of destroying you will always twist truth into something they can live with. I wasn't living for him anymore. I rented a small, sunlit apartment on the other side of the city. It wasn't fancy or large, but it felt mine. Clean, quiet, a place untouched by lies. But moving didn't stop the storm, not even close. It started with whispers, then messages, then calls. Our social circle was buzzing like a hive of angry bees. Some friends reached out gently. "Are you okay? I heard something happens between you, Daniel, and Ava. You know you can talk to me, right?" Others weren't so kind. "I don't believe Ava could do that. Maybe you misunderstood. Pregnancy is tricky. Are you sure it wasn't before they got involved?" I learned quickly who my real friends were, and who had been waiting for a crack in my life just so they could crawl inside and feast on the drama. But I refused to explain the truth to anyone, not yet. Not because of shame, but because my healing didn't need an audience. A month after the confrontation, I got a message from Connor. "Thank you for telling me the truth. I'm filing for divorce next week." I stared at the screen, heart aching. Connor didn't deserve this. He was loyal, funny, gentle. The kind of man who always opens the car door for Ava, who brought her flowers on random Tuesdays, who cooked her favorite meals when she was nauseous during her early pregnancy. He was the type of man you built a life with. Daniel was the type of man you destroyed it. Soon I heard, through whispers, through friends, through screenshots, that Daniel and Ava were falling apart quickly. Daniel hated how emotional she had become. Ava hated that he wasn't stepping up. Their families disapproved, their finances collapsed, their relationship soured. The universe has a way of returning the pain people give, and they were drowning in their own choices. I didn't rejoice, but I didn't pity them either. Healing was not a straight line. It was a jagged path full of good days and days where memories stabbed me awake. But slowly, quietly, I began to rise. I started therapy. The first few sessions felt like ripping open wounds I'd wrapped in bandages, but with each appointment, I reclaimed something. My confidence, my clarity, my boundaries, my voice. I reconnected with myself. I signed up for yoga, not graceful, but grounding. I started journaling, messy, emotional, freeing. I traveled, short trips at first, then longer ones. I learned what peace sounded like, what solitude felt like, what my own needs looked like. I had spent so much of my marriage shrinking myself. I was finally growing again. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, something unexpected happened. I ran into Ava. It was at a cafe downtown. I had gone in for a quick iced latte, tired from errands. When I turned around, she was right there, baby carrier strapped to her chest, her face pale, drained, almost ghost-like. Her eyes widened. She froze. So did I. For a moment, neither of us breathed. Her baby, a tiny girl with soft curls, squirmed inside the carrier. Ava's voice cracked. "Layla, please." Please what? Please forgive her? Please go back to pretending we were sisters? Please erase the betrayal she carved into my life? She stepped forward, tears gathering. "I know you hate me. I know I ruined everything, but I just want you to know I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I hurt you. If I could undo it, I swear I would." "No," I whispered. She stopped. "No," I repeated. "You made your choices. I made mine. We're not friends anymore. We won't ever be. And that's okay. But you don't get access to me just because you regret losing me." She sobbed uncontrollably, covering her mouth. For the first time, I didn't feel pain, or anger, or jealousy. I felt free. I walked past her and left her there carrying the consequences of her own choices. I didn't look back. Healing taught me something beautiful. Closure is not something you wait for. It's something you create. And life, in its strange unpredictability, brought something into my life when I least expected it. I met someone, Ethan. We met at a bookstore, classic, cliché, and unexpectedly sweet. He reached for the same novel I did and apologized with a soft, crooked smile. He was nothing like Daniel. He didn't rush me. He didn't push. He didn't demand. He simply showed up, slowly, consistently, gently. He liked early morning coffee. He loved hiking. He had a deep laugh that felt warm. He respected my past without tiptoeing around it. He asked before touching me. He listened before speaking. He cared before expecting anything in return. We didn't label anything at first. I needed time. He understood. Sometimes the right person doesn't come to fix you, they come to sit with you as you fix yourself. Almost a year after the divorce was finalized, I received a letter from Daniel. I almost didn't open it. Inside was a single page handwritten. He apologized. He admitted everything. He confessed how he felt losing me, how he regretted the moment of weakness that became a year-long disaster, how he realized I was the only person who had ever truly loved him. He ended with, "I hope one day you can remember me without hatred." I sat with that for a long moment. Then I smiled. Not bitterly, not painfully, just peacefully, because I didn't hate him anymore. I didn't love him. I didn't miss him. I didn't need him. He was simply someone who once occupied a chapter in my life, and now he was someone I had outgrown. I folded the letter and placed it in a drawer, not to keep him close, but to remind myself how far I had come. 2 years later, I stood on a quiet balcony overlooking the ocean, the sounds of waves crashing softly below. Ethan wrapped an arm around my waist, kissing the side of my head gently. I breathed in the salt air and closed my eyes. My life was not perfect, but it was peaceful, authentic, real. The scars remained, but scars tell stories of survival, not weakness. The call that broke my heart, the betrayal that destroyed my marriage, the lies that poisoned my friendship, all of them became part of a journey that led me here, to a stronger version of myself, to a better life, to a love built on truth. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a survivor, a woman reborn, a woman who chose herself and rebuilt her world even after it crumbled. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, I whispered a truth I had earned. If that story gave you chills, drop a like, subscribe, and comment so I know you made it to the end. I've got another one. See you then.